Can you stay for just one night? Lonely CEO had everything but spent. Christmas alone until she asked. She stood at the floor-to-ceiling window of her penthouse office, watching the city light up for Christmas below, and for the first time in years she let herself feel it. The loneliness, the silence, the weight of success that had cost her everything else. And when the young woman from housekeeping knocked softly and asked if she was okay, she heard herself say something she never thought she would. Can you stay for just one night? If stories like this one move you, I'd love for you to subscribe to Sage Stories. Hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters here, and I read every single one. These stories are about all of us, and I'm grateful you're here to listen. Victoria Chen was 42 years old and the CEO of one of the fastest-growing tech companies in Atlanta. She had built her empire from nothing. No inheritance, no connections. Just intelligence, ambition, and a refusal to settle for anything less than the top. By every visible measure, she had won. She lived in a penthouse in Midtown. She drove a car most people only saw in magazines. Her name appeared in Forbes and Fortune. People respected her, feared her even, but no one really knew her. Christmas Eve arrived on a Tuesday that year, and the office had emptied by noon. Victoria told her assistant she'd be working late. She always did. It wasn't a lie exactly. She did have work to do, but the truth was simpler and sadder than that. She had nowhere else to go. Her parents had passed years ago. She had no siblings, no husband, no children. She dated, of course, but relationships required time and vulnerability, and Victoria had built her life around control and efficiency. Love didn't fit into quarterly projections, so she stayed. The office was quiet in a way that felt almost sacred. The hum of the heating system, the distant sound of traffic 23 floors below. She made herself a cup of coffee in the executive kitchen and returned to her desk. Outside, the city glowed. Lights wrapped around street lamps. Wreaths hung on storefronts. Families moved together down the sidewalks, bundled in coats, carrying shopping bags and holding hands. She watched them for a long time. Around 8 o'clock, she heard a soft knock. She turned surprised. The cleaning staff usually came much later. Standing in the doorway was a young woman in a gray uniform, holding a trash bin and looking uncertain. Her name tag read Maya. Victoria had seen her before but never spoken to her. Maya was in her mid-20s, with warm brown skin and tired eyes that held something gentle in them. "I'm sorry to bother you, ma'am," Maya said quietly. "I didn't know anyone was still here. I can come back later." Victoria shook her head. "It's fine, come in." Maya stepped inside and began emptying the small trash can near the door. She worked quickly, efficiently, without making unnecessary noise. Victoria went back to her laptop, but she couldn't concentrate. She kept glancing up. There was something about the way Maya moved, careful, respectful, present, like she noticed things. After a moment, Maya paused near the window. She looked out at the city and smiled just a little. "It's beautiful," she said softly, almost to herself. Victoria looked up. "It is." Maya turned, seeming embarrassed. "Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt." "You're not interrupting." There was a silence. Not uncomfortable, but full. Maya finished with the trash and moved toward the door, then hesitated. She turned back. "Are you okay, ma'am?" The question caught Victoria off guard. No one asked her that. Not her board members. Not her investors. Not the few people she still called friends. She opened her mouth to say yes, of course, but the word wouldn't come. Instead, she heard herself say something true. "I don't know." Maya didn't look away. She didn't offer empty comfort or rush to fill the silence. She just nodded like she understood, like she'd been there too. "It's Christmas Eve," Maya said gently. "You shouldn't be alone." Victoria felt something crack open inside her chest. "I don't have anywhere else to be." Maya set down her cleaning supplies. She walked over to the small couch near the window and sat down, folding her hands in her lap. "Then stay here," she said. "But don't stay alone." Victoria stared at her. "What?" "I'm here," Maya said simply. "If you want company, I'll stay. You don't have to do that." "I know," Maya said, "but I want to." And that's how it started. Victoria didn't understand it, didn't question it too deeply in that moment because she was afraid if she did, the offer would disappear. She stood, walked over and sat down on the other end of the couch. For a long time, they just sat there in silence, looking out at the city together. Finally, Victoria spoke. "Why are you working tonight?" Maya smiled softly. "Same reason you are, I guess. Nowhere else to be." No family? Not here, Maya said. My mom's back in North Carolina. I moved here 2 years ago for school, but I had to drop out. Money got tight. I send her what I can, but I couldn't afford to fly home this year. Victoria felt a pang of something unfamiliar. Guilt, maybe, or recognition. I'm sorry. It's okay, Maya said. She's strong. We'll see each other soon. What were you studying? Nursing, Maya said, and her face lit up just a little. I want to help people. I know that sounds simple, but it's true. I like taking care of people, making them feel less alone. Victoria looked at her, really looked at her, and saw something she hadn't seen in a long time. Purpose, not ambition or competition or the need to prove something. Just pure, honest purpose. That's not simple, Victoria said quietly. That's rare. They talked for hours. Maya told her about growing up in a small town, about her mother who cleaned houses and raised her alone, about the patients she used to visit during her clinical rotations and how much she missed that work. Victoria found herself talking too, not about business or strategy, but about things she hadn't said out loud in years. She told Maya about her parents. Her father, who worked in a factory and died of a heart attack at 53. Her mother, who cleaned offices at night and told Victoria to reach for more. She told her about the years of working 2 jobs, going to community college, transferring to a state school, clawing her way into the tech world when no one thought she belonged there. I thought if I made it, Maya, if I got to the top, I'd finally feel like I'd arrived, Victoria said. But I don't. I feel further away than ever. From what? Maya asked. From people, Victoria said. From connection. From mattering in a way that's real. Maya leaned back against the couch. You matter, she said. You've built something. You've created jobs. You've changed lives. But I don't know those lives, Victoria said. I don't see them. I've spent so long building walls to protect myself that I forgot how to let anyone in. Maya was quiet for a moment. Then she said, it's not too late. How do you know? Because you're here, Maya said, and you let me stay. Victoria felt tears prick her eyes and she didn't fight them. One slipped down her cheek and Maya reached over and gently squeezed her hand. It was such a small gesture, but it broke something open. Victoria hadn't been touched with kindness in so long. Around midnight, Maya stood and said, Come with me. Where? You'll see. They took the elevator down to the lobby. The building was empty except for the night security guard, who waved at Maya. She led Victoria outside into the cold December air. The streets were quieter now, but still alive with light. They walked a few blocks until they reached a small diner that was still open. The sign in the window said, Open Christmas Eve, all welcome. Inside it was warm and smelled like coffee and pancakes. A handful of people sat in booths. An older man eating alone, a couple holding hands, a woman in a hospital scrubs reading a book. Maya and Victoria slid into a booth near the window. A waitress came over, smiling. What can I get you, ladies? Maya ordered coffee and pie. Victoria did the same. When the food came, they ate slowly, talking and laughing about small things. Maya told a story about a patient who sang opera in the middle of the night. Victoria told a story about accidentally sending a very personal email to her entire company. They laughed until their sides hurt. At some point, Victoria realized she hadn't checked her phone in hours, hadn't thought about work, hadn't worried about anything except this moment. This person, this unexpected gift of not being alone. When they finally left the diner, it was almost 2 a.m. They walked back to the office building together, slow and quiet. At the entrance, Maya stopped. Thank you, Victoria said. For what? For staying. Maya smiled. Thank you for letting me. Victoria hesitated, then said, I don't want this to be the last time. Maya looked at her surprised. What do you mean? I mean, I want to know you, Victoria said. Really know you. Not just tonight. I want to help you finish school. I want to be part of your life. If you'll let me. Maya's eyes filled with tears. You don't have to do that. I know, Victoria said, but I want to. And so it began, not as charity, but as friendship, as family. Victoria helped Maya re-enroll in nursing school and covered her tuition. But more than that, they spent time together. They had dinner once a week. They texted about small things. Maya introduced Victoria to her mother over video calls. And the older woman's warmth reminded Victoria of her own mother. Victoria invited Maya to company events, and Maya's presence reminded her why the work mattered. Maya graduated 2 years later with honors. Victoria was in the front row cheering louder than anyone. Maya got a job at Grady Memorial Hospital, working in the ICU, and she was extraordinary at it. Patients loved her. Families trusted her. She had found her calling. But the story didn't end there, because Victoria changed too. She started a mentorship program at her company for first-generation college students. She partnered with local schools to create pathways into tech. For kids who looked like she once did, she spent less time in her office and more time with people. She learned their names, heard their stories, let herself be known, and every Christmas Eve, no matter how busy they were, Victoria and Maya met at that same diner. They ordered coffee and pie. They talked about the year. They remembered the night that changed everything. Because that's what one night of kindness can do. It can remind you that success without connection is just noise, that no title or salary or achievement can replace the simple, sacred act of being seen by another person, that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is admit you're lonely and let someone stay. Victoria learned that loneliness isn't a weakness. It's a signal, a call to reach out, to be vulnerable, to let people in. And Maya learned that her gift for caring wasn't small or simple. It was powerful. It could change lives. Years later, when people asked Victoria what her greatest accomplishment was, she didn't talk about her company or her wealth or the awards on her wall. She talked about a young woman named Maya who knocked on her door one Christmas Eve and stayed when she didn't have to. She talked about the family they built together, not by blood but by choice. She talked about the lesson she learned that night, that we all need each other, that none of us were meant to do this alone. If you're reading this and you've ever felt alone, I want you to know something. You're not. There are people who would stay if you asked. There are people who would sit with you in the silence and not try to fix it. Just be there. And sometimes being brave enough to ask for company is the first step toward everything changing. Share your story in the comments. Tell me about a time someone stayed when you needed them, or a time you stayed for someone else. Because these moments matter. They remind us that beneath all our differences, all our struggles, all our walls, we're all just people trying to make it through, and we do it better together. The greatest gift you can give someone isn't money or success or even solutions. It's presence. It's seeing them. It's staying. And sometimes one night is all it takes to remind someone they matter, that they're not alone, that their life, their story, their heart is worth showing up for. That's the kind of love that changes the world. One quiet, courageous moment at a time.